Welcome to the top of the morning show with your girl TT from the D. I am super excited about this thankful Thursday, although it's not bright and sunny outside and it looks like it could possibly rain. It's still a beautiful day because we're amongst the living, and hopefully you woke up on the right side of the bed and you chose life and not pettiness this morning. You know, that's the saying, like, you woke up and chose pettiness, or you woke up and chose to be mean or whatever. I hope that you woke up and chose peace. We have a lot of things going on in the world. And as I wrestled with what I would talk about on this Thankful Thursday, you know, we're talking about relationships. We've talked about relationships. I'm getting ready to do something. I think it's going to be the first time since I started the top of the morning show. We're getting ready, ladies and gentlemen, for a 30-day challenge. Now, what is that 30-day challenge going to consist of? I don't know. But the month of August, we're going to kick off the 30-day challenge. I know you're like, oh my God, so there's 31 days. You're right. But I'm going to take that first day to get you ready for the next 30 days. And so I got to continue to see what that's going to look like. So I don't do what I want to do, but do what is supposed to be done. That's the best way to be obedient, is do what's laid before you, not what you choose to lay before you. It's like getting up in the morning and picking what you're going to wear. You know, if you're a child, you know, there was a time when your mother, father, big mama, whomever is raising you or raised you, they laid out your clothes the night before. So you knew exactly what you were going to wear the next day, right? So much down to the underclothes, which if that meant a t-shirt or a bra, panties, boxers, you get it, socks or stockings, tights, you know, if you will, but you get the gist of it. We had things laid out for us, and we were kind of told what we were going to wear, right? And so now that we're older, unless you wear a uniform, you get to pick and choose what you choose to wear. What do I want to wear today? Well, I hope that when you got up this morning, you chose to wear kindness. I hope that you chose to wear peace. I hope that you chose to wear love. And not only that, I hope that you were cocooned in peace and love and kindness as you slept, getting ready to embrace this morning. I believe I was kind of just torn on what I wanted to talk about on this Thankful Thursday. And I know we talked about love versus toxic love. And I gave you 14 core examples the day before yesterday, which was Tuesday, to kind of soak and listen to. When I say soak, you could soak in a tub, soak in your hot tub, or just soak in your feelings. I realized last night that there are so many people that are survivors, let me say that are survivors of domestic violence. And more than not, it's not just women suffering from domestic violence. There are men suffering from domestic violence. Bigger than that, there are men and women who have lost their lives due to domestic violence. I saw something that was so crazy between a husband and a wife, that I was just like, oh my God. And so I was trying to prepare to do the show, and it was just like, I got distracted, but it allowed me to look into other things. And I thought, like, there is a quietness when it comes to domestic violence, yet we're loud. Okay? What does that mean, TT from the D? That means that a lot of times we don't talk about it. A lot of times we can't see it with the naked eye, because sometimes the abuser doesn't leave physical marks. It is the mental, spiritual, and emotional marks that we tend to not see, but sometimes we see, right? And it's the verbal weapons, right? The emotional weapons that are used against men and women. Now, you got some that are bold out here, and I unfortunately saw a few posts, lives, And I'm like, beyond myself. Because some people leave their stamp and they don't care about leaving their stamp on the outside. Those scratches on his face, those scratches on her face, those bruises. I was out of town this past weekend and I saw a beautiful young lady who was fair-skinned, who worked in a beauty shop, and a makeup beauty shop, I should say, Ulta. I'll just put it out there, Ulta. And, they got everything in there, right? And so you could clearly tell that she tried to cover up her black eye. I happened to look at her, and I kept looking at her. I didn't want to be staring, and she was beautiful, and very customer service friendly and helping the people. And I pointed it out to one of my teammates, like, she trying to cover up that black eye. And it was very sad because I thought to myself, no matter what that woman did or said, somebody left a mark on her to remind them that they were unpleased, unhappy of whatever she did, said, didn't do, didn't say. Because a lot of times people are on that tip where they're going through their own issues. And it took me to another one where a man said he shot his girlfriend 11 times. But he had been violently abusive to her from what it looks like for years. And she was afraid of him. She was afraid of what he would do, not only to her, but to her family. And police, when you got a child involved, I couldn't believe what I was hearing with people saying that she didn't get the help she needed or deserved, because when it came to her trying to get a restraining order, trying to get, protection, restraining order wasn't really nothing but a piece of paper when you got a lunatic after you. Man, woman, it don't even matter because they come in all shapes, sizes, and genders, unfortunately. I've seen some very abusive women who are in relationships, and I ain't just talking about the stud women, the women that are in these, same-sex relationships that are studs. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about women that are in opposite-sex relationships, same-sex relationships, and don't look the brutal part that you would expect, right? Everybody, gets all in a roar when a man is putting his hands on a woman. But what about when a woman is putting her hands on a woman, or a woman is putting her hands on a man? And a man is putting his hands on a man, because even in same-sex relationships with men, I attended I think it's been about 3 years ago, a domestic violence walk in honor of a friend of mine whose daughter, only child, was killed by her ex-boyfriend on their college campus dorm. It made news, and it's just like, she was a beautiful young lady, and I had the pleasure of knowing her and meeting her when she was just a little girl. And I'm like, because you can't be with someone, or because they are outgrowing you and you choose not to grow, or you're growing but you're not growing at the same speed or rate, you decide that you have the right to harm them. Or better yet, you think you got the desire and the right to take their lives, and you don't. We are not property. That goes for all genders. No one is property to another human being. Now, I'm going to say this because I can, and it's true. There was a time when people thought that they could control and own people like they were cattle, like they were material. When all along, we've always been human beings. Not just slavery with African Americans, but slavery with people from even other cultures. But it was more known that they treated black people, which we want to say African Americans, we're black. We're black. Sometimes I choose petty and don't want to mark if you're African American, if you're white, if you're this, if you're that. Okay, Why with white? Why isn't it Caucasian? Okay, because if I'm of another culture and I don't see it on there, I have to pick white. But you're not. So African American, I'm not. I was born here. Now, ancestry-wise, we can go there. Okay, but I was born here in America. So they might say, okay, so you're black and American. Black American. White American. You get it? But anyway, back to the subject at hand, because I will not be distracted this quickly, so early. But I was just thinking, like, these people, to hear this man, he said, bro, I don't know what made me just pop like that. And I love her. I love her on my soul. I said, I was looking at my husband, we was listening to it together. I said to myself, on your soul? My friend, you don't have a soul. Well, you have a soul, but it's tormented. It's damaged. But you say you love this woman with all your soul. Well, you don't have a soul. Because you couldn't love this woman and shoot her 11 times in front of your child. And then shoot her aunt, shoot her uncle, and then turn around and shoot 5 times into the car that you know your son was in. You don't love nobody at all. And I understand, and I say this, some people be like, what is the burning bed? Yeah, maybe we should start rewatching that, because some of y'all are crazy. You really literally feel you have the right to strike a man or a woman because they won't do what you want, how you want, when you want. What? Now, we spank our children because they don't do what we want, when we want, how we want, right? When it's the right thing to do. So yeah, we'll spank our children. How you spanking your spouse? How you spanking your significant other, your husband, your wife? How are you beating? You know, we don't condone people beating their kids. So we damn sure ain't condoning you beating your adult partner. I'm like, I was beside myself. And it was so, I'm an empath. So I felt that as I watched more and more videos and lives. You literally have on social media people losing their lives going live streaming because they feel like if something happens to me, you will know. I don't care what he or she, the abuser, the maybe murderer, will tell you. I was going live because I was fearing for my life. I needed a witness. I needed my voice to be heard if my voice is silenced. Now, this is heavy this morning, but I'm thankful. I'm thankful for those people who did that. I'm thankful if that was their last voice, opportunity to be heard and seen, because they got the truth out there. There are people like the recent bullshit shenanigans. We don't know the backstory, but it don't even matter. All we know is that, now it's not been 100% confirmed, but there was a domestic violence relationship right here in Michigan, in Lansing, Michigan. And the young man stabbed his ex-girlfriend, but she broke up with him. The young man left her home with her 2-year-old daughter, who I found out, they said this ain't even his child. Well, they found him, 5 hours later, and he no longer had the 2-year-old. So they were trying to figure out where could he have placed her, thrown her, discarded her along the route that he had. And they unfortunately, sadly, believe that they have found the young girl. I remember landing on Monday, and I had an Amber Alert from Lansing, Michigan. It said a 2-year-old named Winter was missing. I initially thought, oh my, it must be a domestic situation and dad left with his daughter. I want my daughter, so I'm taking my baby with me. That's what I assumed. Not saying it made it any better, because when that type of stuff happens, emotions are flared. They're all over the place. And you don't know what happens because men and women do that. So I thought, oh, well, he took his baby. Why did he do that? Blah, blah, blah. But when I found out later that this ain't even his child. Now, this has happened several times before. And fortunately for those other people, their children were dropped off somewhere, even if they just left them somewhere at a friend's house, a relative, a stranger, they dropped them off. They left that child safe because that child ain't had nothing to do with nothing. But they did find a body of what looks like a 2-year-old, and they're assuming that it is the body of the 2-year-old that had the Amber Alert. Now, we're not 100% sure. Hasn't been confirmed. Last I checked last night, I haven't checked the news this morning, but I thought to myself, my Lord, my God, domestic violence is terrible. And I'm like, the last one I'll share this morning, because I'm going somewhere with this. A woman was on social media doing a live with a big old bandage on the right side to me, but probably left side to her, side of her face. And she said, I went into a bank today because I had to make a withdrawal. And the woman that I see all the time, she said, what happened to your face? And she said, my husband shot me in my face. And she said, the lady was like, oh my God, what? I'm so sorry, I'm about to be praying for you. And so she said, I had to pull over as this was resonating with me. She said, because I shouldn't have had to say that. I shouldn't have had to say my husband took a whole gun and shot me in my face. She said, let me share something with you. We weren't arguing. We weren't fighting. We weren't having a disagreement. But he took a gun and he shot me in my face. And she proceeded to break down. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. She proceeded to break down. And I thought to myself, how on earth can a man, a woman, a person do anything like that? You know, I thought like, how, why? It doesn't matter what they did, what they said, but how can we do that? I said that, and I said, this makes no earthly sense, right? And she proceeded to just release the heartache and the pain that she was feeling. And I was heartbroken for her because I couldn't fathom that. Someone wanting to attempt to take someone's life and you are with them, but you say you love them. Love, we've heard this, we've learned this as children. Love doesn't hurt. Love is kind. Love is patient. But how do we do that? That's a question that I don't really know the answer to, because there is no answer that makes sense. You just don't do that kind of stuff, but see, people do. And then we say, why do we stay? Well, I want to talk deeper about that because this is more prevalent than you will know. But I want you to pray, whether you're in a relationship that's unhealthy or you're in a beautiful, wonderful relationship. Continue to pray for your mind, for your significant other's mind, for relationships as a whole, because we need it. We need it every day. And love doesn't hurt. I hope that you will join me and my husband tonight. We'll be on the Real Talking Conversation show with Camila Sunshine. I'll be posting about that. I have posted about. I'll share it again. We'll be on there at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time tonight, talking about marriages. And I'm definitely going to bring up these kind of things. I'm a guest. I'm not the host, but my husband and I we were asked to be a part of the show, and I was very honored. Whenever we're asked to go on someone's show and talk about relationships and love, and we're very transparent. But I was just like, oh my God, we got to pray, y'all, for healthy relationships. Because love doesn't cause pain. Remember that. I'll see you soon.